We are live. Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this new installment of Putting Up With Me every week on Misfits Guide to Living. I think it's a Misfits Guide to Living. There's going to be different topics each week. And basically, I just wanted to share some tools and awarenesses and hopefully contribute to your lives. So this week is how do you begin committing to you? Now, I used to Oh man, has this one been a journey? And I'm sure you can all relate to this in your own way. Is how many of those things do you have in your life that come up and kind of trigger you, or you go into judgment of, or you go into that yuck kind of stuck energy, and you separate from you separate from your life? Well, that's the not committing to you part. And I really used to think that this was one choice that I could make. And I thought this throughout my life. I really had, well, if I just make this demand of myself and I make this one choice, I'm going to commit to me and I'm committing to my life, then I'd chosen it. And then everything would start showing up different. But one of the things that I learned is it's every choice. Truly committing to your life is committing to what's true for you in each and every choice that you make. So recognizing when you make choices that don't work out, or that don't turn out the way you would like them to, and rather than having to go into blaming somebody else and doing all that stuff of, oh, this happened to me and this didn't work because of, and having all the reasons and justifications, is really acknowledging that, okay, wait a minute, what did I choose that created this? What was that moment that I was not being committed to me that created this showing up the way that it has? And just to get that awareness, because like I said, so a lot of you have heard me talk about my journey with sobriety. Boy, has this been valuable, so valuable in so many lessons with so many different things. But for years, what I would do is, all right, I'm committing to my life. I'd be having one of those days where I'd be feeling good and being like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm going to commit to my life. And then the next day, everything would be shit again. But I wasn't willing to actually make the choices and do the work to get there. And so a few things with this. Early on in my sobriety, it was one of the things I recognized was, if I don't start committing to me, if I don't start choosing more of what's true for me and actually being present in my life, I'm not going to get through this. And it was it was really uncomfortable. It was really uncomfortable and it was really challenging for me. But one of the things that I kept doing was I just kept going each day and asking for more help from the universe, asking for more contribution, asking to be more, asking to receive more, asking what else I could choose, and to the best of my ability, being in question. And one of the things that I was so grateful for is, early on, I was doing a lot of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. And so I had a sponsor with that. And this guy was, he was an interesting creature. Let's just put it that way. And one of the things he said was, you need to learn about accountability. You need to call me every single day. You need to tell me what's going on in your world. Tell me what's up. Tell me what you're choosing. Tell me what's happening. And I was like, I just did not want to do it. But I made myself start doing this and start calling him and saying, you know what? I feel like shit. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to choose this. I don't want to do this. Or, I'm getting through this. And I would just be honest and present with what I was choosing and what I was creating in those moments. And it was so helpful for me, because a lot of my life, I'd just be like playing victim and kind of sitting on the sideline of my life, not really looking at, okay, I'm actually choosing this. I'm choosing to be here like this. I'm choosing to react to these situations. I'm choosing to have these things show up in my life. It's not happening to me. So one of the big parts of this, in beginning to committing to you, is recognizing that you're the creator of everything. Now, that's not an easy thing to get, okay? To even begin to get that of, wow, wait a minute, everything's showing up in my life based on the choices that I'm making. And But if you can just begin to get that, begin to allow yourself to recognize, okay, wait a minute, I'm choosing this. If I'm choosing this, I can make a different choice. If you recognize that part, that you have choice in each and every moment, then you have the possibility of committing to you. Okay, so how does it get any better than that? So another thing with this that I kind of mentioned was it's not one big choice, but it begins with that. Like with anything in life, if you're gonna change anything in your life, there's going to be a lot of choices to make with that. Okay, because there's a lot of choices that you have made to create it. So if you've made a lot of choices to get in the financial situation that you're in, or you've made a lot of choices to create upsets of different things that are going on in your relationships, or you've made a lot of choices with your family, or raising your kids, or these different things, you've made a lot of choices that have created you to where you are right now. So it's not just one choice in getting out of it, or it's not even getting out of it, in changing it, but it is one choice to begin. Okay, one choice to begin the change is, you know what, no matter what this takes, no matter what I have to be willing to gain, no matter what I have to be willing to lose, no matter what I have to be willing to be, I am having something different. I am changing this. And so with that, notice in your world how that kind of comes up for you. But I know for me that I would do it I would make the choices like that while it would make me heavy. Like I would know in my world, well, I know I'm not committed to this. But you ever do that? Like believe that if you tell yourself something enough that it will eventually show up rather than actually do the work to create it? Well, this is about making the choices to create it. And so in recognizing that part, one of the questions that you can begin to ask yourself is, okay, so does this choice match the energy of me committing to me? And if it's no, and you'll know, we all know that stuff. It'll be like, no, I know that's not actually committing to me. I know reacting to this person. Um, I know judging myself. I know going into doubt about my future is not actually committing to me. So what's a different choice that I have? Now, another thing that was so helpful for me, and still is, I still have this as an awareness that creates a space from which I choose. And I am nowhere near it. Like I said, it is a journey. But I was having a conversation with Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, one day, and he said to me, he said, look, if you're making the easy choices, you are going in the wrong direction. If you're willing to make the hard choices, then you can actually begin to get free of this. You can begin to get to something different. And it was interesting because at the time, what I took that as was, okay, this needs to be hard. How many of you do that? Like create those things that you desperately try to change, or you would like to have something different. You create the hard work in order to get there rather than actually allowing it to show up as something different, allowing the universe in to contribute to it being something different. And so with this, I made it very difficult and very hard and very challenging for a while until I realized, wait a minute, it is so easy for me to make things hard. It is so easy for me to judge myself. It is so easy for me to give up on my life and to give up on me. It's hard for me to be present. It's hard for me to actually to make a different choice and not judge myself. And if you can recognize that part, what if those choices begin to be more of what you used to acknowledge and recognize the courage that you have to actually create a different possibility? So one of the things I want to do is all that brings up for you, all that stuff that comes up, because you kind of like, oh, well, I'm not choosing enough, or I should be choosing more, or I know I'm being less than here, and I know I could be more than here, and you kind of go into that world of just judgment. Everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it all. Times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Okay, if you're new to that is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. And one of the things I'm going to be talking about and giving you tools is Access Consciousness. And I've been doing this for 15 years now, and man, am I just beyond grateful for these tools. So if you haven't heard of this, we got so many resources out there. There's so much there's so many things available to create whatever it is that you desire to change in your life. Okay, so committing to you. There we go. What else? So it's been interesting actually putting this. We came up with the title of this like a week ago, I think. I was like, I want to start doing these lives, and so we came up with the title of this first one. And interestingly for me, I started noticing things again show up in my life, things starting to present themselves that in the past were the things that I would so give up on me in the presence of. Like, do you have any of those things that you've made bigger than you in your life that as soon as they show up and present themselves, you go to less than? As a way of dealing with it, as a way of just avoiding it, as a way of not changing it. But what if you could begin to use those things that show up in your life as a source for more awareness and the change? What I mean by that is, again, it's an easy choice to go, oh, this is too much, I don't want to deal with it. Rather than, okay, this is here, this is presenting itself. What am I avoiding with this? 3 great questions with anything that shows up like this is, what am I avoiding? Just get the energy of that. When it comes up and you're like, oh man, I'm avoiding having that much ease. I'm avoiding seeing myself as that valuable. I'm avoiding being committed to my life, knowing that I'm going to be here for me. I'm not going to leave me in these areas anymore. I'm not going to make anything bigger than me. Everything that brings up, POC and pod. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Next question is, who or what am I defending, for or against? So you might ask that and it'll be like, oh man, I'm defending for, all of these people that I grew up with telling me that I wouldn't be any more than this, or saying that money had to be a struggle, or that life was going to be hard, or these things were going to be difficult. And I'm defending against the ease I could actually have with it and seeing what's true for me. Everything that is, POC and pod. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. And then another question, what am I proving? That one. I was just doing a telecall before this and had this sweet woman on there who has no idea that she has been through a lot in her life, and she has done her best to prove that she's not what everybody told her she is. And do you ever do that? Like if you're judged as something like, oh, you're selfish, or you're too much, or you're, whatever that is. I'm apparently thinking is I cannot, but what she was trying to do was she was trying to prove that she was valuable. She was told throughout her life that she had no value. So her thing was, okay, I'm going to prove that I have valuable. But anything that you have to prove, you don't get to be. So everything that is times a godzillion, and will also always prove we are the opposite of what we've been judged as, or what we judge ourselves as, or what we've decided we are. Everything that is Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pog, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Okay, so notice those things when they come up. For me, one of them that has kind of been present throughout my life is relationship and things that go on in relationship. Like I've had things come up for me in the last week where I'm like, man, I so want to go to this uh, less than me with this money, different things with future, like, and it's more, and I bring this up for me so that you can get a sense of what it is for you, but it's more, it's more energies rather than necessarily being something that you could even put words to. It's more of these energies that come up, and it's these things that you will go to this less than in order to not be and not recognize that you are the creator of everything. So everything that is and everything that brings up times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. So what would it be for you to begin to commit to you? Begin to commit to your life. And again, recognize that none of us are perfect. Okay. So you're going to have moments where you go into, oh my God, I'm hopeless, or I'm terrible at this, or I can never seem to create, or I can never seem to, whatever that is for you, stop. What if you could stop, be present with that energy, and rather than having to get away from it anymore, oh my God, what can I do? Like um, I had alcohol. My friend in disguise, because whenever anything would get too much for me, I just don't want to deal with it. Alcohol was my source for disappearing, and I used it like that. And so for me, the last few years has been a journey with getting more present with these things that show up in my life. So what if when these things show up for you, whatever that is for you, because we all have our own special recipe to limitations. We all have our own special kind of mix of things that will be like, oh my God, there it is again. There it is to show me I can't be what I know I should be able to be. What if you didn't have to run from that anymore? And what if the way that you can actually begin to change anything is by being present with it? 4 great questions that I like to use with everything is, what is this? What do I do with it? Can I change it? And if so, how do I change it? What is this? What do I do with it? Can I change it? And if so, how do I change it? So, another thing is one of my big targets, I guess I would call it, throughout my life has been to like who I am. And have I kind of, there's been a lot of times where I've struggled with that. And I bring that up because what if committing to your life was about liking you? I mean, do you like yourself more when you're, in judgment? Do you like yourself more when you're trying to see the wrongness of somebody else and the rightness of you, or the wrongness of you and the rightness of somebody else? Do you like yourself more when you're making drama and sadness and all of that stuff real? Or do you like yourself more when you're in question and you're willing to choose something different? What if you liking you became the most valuable thing in your life? How much more would that allow you to show up and be the contribution that you'd like to be in the world? And that one is definitely many, 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 many choices. But it begins with that demand of yourself. You know what? I'm going to like who I am. I'm going to like the choices I make. I'm going to like the mistakes I make. I'm going to like it all, and I'm going to choose for something different. So I think I'm about there. It's so interesting for me. Coming on and doing these lives. Please tell anyone you'd like to share some tools, and just anyone you would like to share some stuff with, please share these lives around. I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be doing them every week, Thursdays, 2 p.m. Houston. And what else is possible for you that you have never considered? Okay, beautiful people. That's about as far as my brain power is going to go today. So I hope that was a contribution. I will see you guys next week. If you are not aware, I have a Telegram channel in English. There's lots of, we have different stuff, resources, and different things. There is so much on YouTube with Access Consciousness. Dr. Dane here, Gary Douglas, thousands of facilitators, thousands of topics and different things with, like I said, there is nothing that there is nothing that you cannot change if you're willing to be in the question and allow it to actually change. So whatever's going on for you, please know that this is out there and that you are included. All right, beautiful people. I will see you next week. Bye. Oh, look what else. Look. Dragon. Hello, dragon. Oh, yeah.